Oh, how you doing? It caught me off guard. Well, I'm on. When you're on, you're on. When you're not, you're not. So let's go ahead and talk about this next record on Billboard's Hot 100, August 30th, 1980. And Gerry Rafferty, a Lost 45 by Gerry Rafferty, did not make top 40 though. It's called The Royal Mile. Let's see. Here it is. The Royal Mile, Sweet Darling. Peaked at number 54, down to number 79 on Billboard's Hot 100 of August 30th, 1980. Gerry Rafferty from Scotland. He was in a folk pop band back in 1969 called the Humble Bums. 1969, 1970, 71, he was in that band. He left that band in 1971. He put out a solo album. About a year or so later, he teamed up with a guy named Joe Egan, and they formed Steelers Well, Stuck in the Middle of You, back in the winter and spring of 73. And there was another song they did after that. Let me see if I can bring that up. I don't know if anybody remembers this song from the summer of 1973 they did. In the United States, the song was called Everyone's Agreed That Everything Will Turn Out Fine. That went to number 49. That was in the summer of 73. And then Star came out. Star was a fantastic record. So, well, I can't remember all the lyrics to the record, but it was a fantastic Lost 45, Star by Steelers Will. And then, let's see, the big album that put Gerry Rafferty on the map, and I can't remember the name of the album. Now, how pathetic is that? It is 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember the name that put Gerry Rafferty on the map. Big time. His solo album. Got it written down. City to City. That's the name of the album. Baker Street. Back in the late spring and summer of 1978. Probably one of the best records ever put out in the 70s. And there was Right Down the Line, late summer of 1978. Woo! And then there was Home and Dry in late 78, early 79. 3 singles off that album. And he also he had that song out, I remember, back in the summer night called Get It Right Next Time, I believe Get It Right Next Time, back in the summer of 79. That was a top 40 hit, went to number 21. His fourth album was called Snakes and Ladders, and that yielded the song The Royal Mile, Sweet Darling. Also on that album, a song called Garden of England. That song was recorded at George Martin's Air Studio in Montserrat, which is down in the Leeward Islands in the Caribbean. George Martin, the famed fifth Beatle. That song recorded there in his studio down there in the Caribbean. And checking out that album, Snakes and Ladders, sometimes if you pull up the name of the album, you get all these people who played on the album, and there are some names that stick out at you that you recognize. And if I could pull that album up, let me see if I can get that album up for you. The personnel who played on this album, one of them was Pete Wingfield rather. He played the organ on this album. You might remember Pete Wingfield. He had a song out back in 1975 called 18 with a Bullet. Does anybody remember that? Hit in England, also a hit of sorts here in the States as well. But one of the guys who played on that album, Snakes and Ladders by Gerry Rafferty. Song itself only got as high as number, let me bring up that chart position. The digital version of Billboard's Hot 100 went to number 54. That's it. On Billboard's Hot 100 for 8 weeks back in the summer of 1980. A lost memory, but here it is. Gerry Rafferty, The Royal Mile, Sweet Darling. Brought to you by Mr. Deejay.